Good morning. This is Coffee with Bob, and I am very glad to be hosting today. Yesterday was the 26th anniversary of the bombing of the Murrah building in Oklahoma City. It was also the 26th anniversary of my father's death. He had had an appointment at the Social Security office that day, and by that evening, my mother called me, and I was in my car, and I remember her telling me that he had had an appointment and had not returned home, and she was not able to reach him. And I was given the information of where to meet my family at a makeshift family center at a church in Oklahoma City. And so I made my way to Oklahoma City and found my way to this church. And I have to tell you that my memory of that evening is very patchy. All I remember is walking up the steps to a church, going through the doors, and then there were white sheets of paper on this red brick wall. I found my father's name and connected with my family there. The spirit of that family center was warm, and I felt very comforted by that memory. Years later, I would be appointed to St. Luke's and invited to speak at the memorial. They have an educational program where groups come in, school groups, religious groups, groups of all ages and sizes, and they would hear from people who had a direct connection to the bombing. And so I've spoken to many different groups over the years. And a few years ago, I was speaking and recounting my story, especially of that evening of going to a church, but not remembering very much, except that I found my father's name on this sheet of paper on the brick wall. After I spoke to this group, one of the employees of the National Memorial stopped me and said, "Well, you know what church that was, right?" I said, "No, I can't remember." And she said, "Well, it was St. Luke's." As I left the memorial that day, I became very weepy because the church that I love so much had first ministered to my family. And what a blessing that was for me. Many times in life, we will meet the needs of others. We are a church that from our very beginning, we have answered the call of God to go out and minister to those in need. And most of the time that we minister to others, we won't hear the full circle story. We won't know all the ways that we touch their lives. And so for the people of St. Luke's, and for anyone who goes out and ministers, I want to tell you my side of the story, because for me to go to a church that night and to feel safe and secure at such an uncertain time meant the world to my family. We were in a place that offered love, and we were in a time of great upheaval. I felt deep in my heart that my father had died that morning, but the rest of my family held out hope and believed that he would be found alive. I had a much different feeling, and so we were at different places in our emotions and our expectations, and you created a place for all of that. You created a place that would be formative in my call to ministry, because that experience helped me to desire to tell about God's love for all people. You created a place, kind of a brick in the wall of my call to ministry. You never know how you're going to touch a person's life. And so thank you. Thank you for your ministry. Whether or not you hear the rest of the story, for all the people that you minister to, on behalf of all of those people throughout the years, thank you. Thank you for the difference you make in people's lives. Thank you for your willingness to share love with complete strangers. Thank you for your willingness to meet them where they are, emotional, confused, uncertain. Thank you for loving people no matter what. When my family arrived that night, you didn't ask what political party we were. You didn't ask if we were more conservative, more liberal. You didn't ask what we believed about God, about Christ. You welcomed us in and took care of our needs. Thank you for being the example of how we're called to live our lives in this world. I want to give thanks to God, because what a blessing it is for me to know that I get to serve at a church that first served me and my family. Thank you for all the ways that you share God's love and bring hope to the world. You certainly brought hope to mine. Have a great day.